Here I am, 4 a.m. on 4chan, New Year's Day. I guess it's story time. Maybe someone will give a shit. 2009. I am an average high schooler, 18 years old, a virgin, part-time job at a grocery store. Mostly interested in video games, web browsing, and playing guitar. School life pretty much normal as well. Decent grades all around. I have a friend. Let's call her Stella. She's 1 year younger than me. Has been my best friend for years. Since I was in kindergarten, basically. She's a smart kid, so she skipped a grade. She's on the same year as me, a level higher. High schools where I live have different difficulty grades based on your intelligence. She's doing the top level, I'm doing the smart but lazy level. She's a bit small for her age. A bit of a late bloomer, one would say. Though she never grew taller than 4'11". Didn't really see her as anything more than my best friend. We played video games together, read books together, played music together in a shitty band. She's pretty plain looking. Blonde hair, brown eyes, short. Though young looking. She got bullied for that a lot. Plays the piano very well. She got lessons from the same woman that taught me guitar. Valentine's Day rolls around. I have a crush on a girl that's way out of my league. I give that girl a rose. There's this service at our school that allows you to buy people roses, anonymous or not. Being the dumb teen I was, I never really thought much about the roses I got. It wasn't uncommon for the popular kids to get like dozens, though it might have just been those guys buying each other's roses to look cool in retrospect, since some of them were not really popular with the girls at all. Get absolutely shot down by the pretty girl. Can't even remember her name, to be honest. Talked to Stella about my 2 roses, asking her if she got any. She didn't get one. She seems pretty okay. She was a quiet kid, never said much, a real wallflower. Pour my heart about the pretty thought that shot me down. Pretty upset about it despite not knowing her at all. Stella comforts me. Don't worry, Anon. I'm sure there are girls that like you. You got 2 roses after all. Feel bad about wanting to her, since she didn't get any. Didn't you get any roses, Stella? I ask her like a retard. No, I never got any. I'm not really that special, she answers me. I notice how she looks a bit sad. I would have bought you one, but don't you think that's kind of weird? I tell her, mainly because I felt bad for her. Realize in that moment, one of those roses might have been Stella's. She gives me a weak smile. I appreciate the thoughts, but you really don't have to. Things are a bit awkward now, lots of quiet moments, and we're just sitting together after school. Most of the kids have already gone home. I offer to hang out at my place like we do sometimes, but she declines. Fast forward a couple hours, I'm home and behind my laptop, mainly just dinking around on MSN. Notice her status, it's a bit more dramatic than usual. Just a sad smiley. Emojis weren't a thing back then, thankfully. Ding her on MSN and talk to her for a bit. She seems a little down in the dumps. One of her female friends shoots me a message. Ask me why I hang out with Stella so much. Tell her we've been friends for years and it's always been that way. Ask me if I like Stella. Another complete mind blow to my underdeveloped teenage mind. Start questioning myself. Do I like Stella? Think about it for a bit. It's Valentine's Day. Stella didn't get any roses and seems a bit upset. Her friend asks me this out of the blue. Teenage brain working overtime to connect the dots. Get the idea that Stella might like me, despite me never thinking about such a thing. Was that why she hung out with me so much? Start writing a message. Stella, I'm so sorry I didn't send you. Delete the message. What am I doing? Am I doing this because I want to help my friend feel better? Or am I doing this because I like her? Think about her for a bit. She's not bad looking, just a bit underdeveloped. Her face was kind of cute, you could say, even though her hair was kind of messy and her clothing was pretty uncool. Her parents were pretty poor. This is relevant later. Imagine myself together with Stella. Imagine my friends making fun of me. They always joked about us being a couple, and I was always embarrassed about it like a dumb teen. My heart thumping in my chest like a fucking madman, like I'm making the most important decision of my life. Type her a new message. Stella, I want to talk to you. Can we meet at the playground near your house? She replies almost instantly, yes, okay. Grab my Aprilia RS50 that I bought from all my supermarket money and race over to her place. It's cold as fuck outside. I didn't think my meeting place through too well. Find Stella sitting on a swing as I arrive. She looks happy to see me. Hey, I say, taking a seat on the other swing. Hey, she says back, looking in front of her. Notice that there's no one on the streets. It's just us and a cold wind at like 8 p.m. in a playground. Notice she's shivering a little. I'm cold as fuck as well, but I offer her my hoodie that I was wearing under my jacket. She takes it and puts it on, seems to have a big smile on her face. I'm the most unromantic teen ever though, so I blurt out, Stella, do you like me? She freezes up. We awkwardly stare out in front of ourselves. I'm freezing my nuts off in the cold. Why am I asking Stella, the most socially awkward girl I know, such a loaded question out of the blue? My imagination runs wild. I imagine all the shit she'd be saying like, no, we're just friends. And maybe even, I don't want to be friends anymore. This quiet lasts like 3 minutes, but to me it feels like half an hour. Just about to speak up when she says, yes. Freeze up myself, didn't actually expect her to say yes. Never had a girlfriend before in my life, aside from some elementary school drama, 1-week relationships. More awkward silence, a bit shorter this time, since it's my turn to say something. Can see tears welling up in Stella's eyes as I look over to her. She must be expecting me to turn her down, quickly blurt out, I like you too, Stella. More quiet, 2 socially retarded teenagers freezing up in that February cold in that fucking playground. So what now? I say after about a minute. We both stare at each other. She giggles through her tears. It's kinda cute and funny. Makes me laugh in turn, just because of how awkward and retarded this whole situation was. We both laugh for a good while. I'm shivering at this point. I get off the swing. I'm a pretty tall guy, so I basically tower over Stella, and I stand in front of her sitting down. She hops off the swing and hugs me. I hug her back. We stay like that for what feels like another half hour. I ask like a retarded, unromantic idiot I am, can I kiss you? Yeah, she says and smiles. The most awkward lip kiss scene in the history of cringy teenage relationships. All sorts of weird feelings coursing through me. Mostly a good feeling though. Said something along the lines of, wow, that was amazing, can we do it again? I hate myself just now remembering this cringe fest. She laughs and says, yes, we kiss again. This is my first kiss, so I'm inexperienced as all fuck. I end up pushing my tongue against her lips and forcing inside of her mouth. She's a bit of a sweet tooth, so I can taste some candy she ate earlier. Feels so weird, I'd never kissed a girl before, and it was super awkward. We were both a little uncomfortable after this, and stopped after a few seconds. So I guess we're like boyfriend and girlfriend now, I ask, still a bit confused. Stella just nods and smiles. Haven't seen her this happy in quite a while. We part ways, and I go home, freezing to death on my bike as I race home, but I don't care. I have a girlfriend. The first thing I do when I get home is post on 4Chan about getting a girlfriend. Get called a faggot and a liar in the comments. Like, congratulations, we don't care. Disappointed at the time, but thinking back to it, just cringy and retarded of me to do. Basically just like anything 18-year-old me did. I text Stella until deep in the night before falling asleep. The next day at school, we don't really talk much. We sit together at lunch and just eat our foods, trying to make awkward small talk. It's quite obvious we aren't really used to the idea of being a couple yet. Despite that, we both feel happy just to be in each other's company. Tell my friends later that day about my relationship. They act like it was not new news, and they knew all along. At the time, I legitimately thought they were just taking the piss. Looking back at it, we were basically always like that, except without the awkward as fuck kissing in public. It isn't until about a week later that we're confident enough to hold hands in public. We kind of become a stealthy couple that people speculate about, but no one really knows for sure. I wonder in retrospect why so many people cared, since Stella was just a bullied, quiet kid, and I was just a generic guy, not really one of the popular kids. Notice that people start treating me nicer. Girls are talking to me in class, and guys want to hang out with me more. Stella told me she was getting teased less now. Overall, pretty good feels. Our schedule is pretty chill. We hung out every evening after I finished work. Her house was closer than mine, so it was easier for me to get to her house and chill there. I'm pretty good with parents. They instantly took a liking to me. She has an older sister too. She's taller, arguably prettier, and extremely chill. The entire family was better than my own in the way we were interacting with each other and having fun together. Despite being poor, they have tons of fun. Was actually surprised to learn that Stella, her older sister, and her sister's boyfriend play Smash on the N64 quite a lot. I never really owned Smash on N64. I mostly played Melee, but I love playing with the four of us. We spent many evenings watching Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Avatar The Last Airbender, and stuff like that together. At home, my dad always cooked, no exceptions. At her place, everyone had to cook once a week, and I was added to this roster without any question. Forced to cook stuff on Fridays, but zero cooking experience. Since I work at a supermarket, I usually just bought frozen pizza and cooked them in the oven. Around this time, I figured out why Stella was so tiny. She's pretty malnourished. When her parents and sister weren't home, she sometimes just straight up skipped dinner. I don't know if it was just out of laziness or because there was nothing to cook. Either way, her family is very chill with me. Let me up in Stella's bedroom no problem if we wanted to chill together. Mostly we just played Double Dash and cuddled/made out. I'm not really sure if I want to share losing my virginity. It's very awkward and not really a good story. Sex didn't feel that good because she was dry inside. We both felt pretty shitty afterwards. We talk about it in the next day, and both agree sex isn't as good as people make it out to be, and it's just overhyped. Of course, being the horny teenagers we were at the time, we ended up doing it again. A few weeks pass, and I spend my first night actually over at Stella's. I lied to my parents about staying over at my best friend's, who covered for me. Once again, thank you Stella's parents. You're the actual goat parents. Her parents greet me the next morning as if it's nothing unusual. Granted, they have an older daughter, and she's had a boyfriend for a while, so maybe it was just normal to them by now. It's almost summer now. Being the retardedly in love couple we were, we spend all of our time together. Every single day, no exceptions, except for maybe like 5 days when I hung out with my friends. Meanwhile, I've only brought Stella to my house about 4 times. They didn't like her very much as a result, maybe because they know I was having sex with her. Actually, definitely. My mom said something about that at some point, I think. We used to go to the cinema every week or so. Then one day, when we were going to laser gaming with a group of friends, she thought I said I love you when I saw her and shot at her. Can't really remember if I actually did say that, but that's what she heard. That night in bed, she told me she loved me. This was a big deal. We never actually told each other we loved each other. I didn't say it back immediately because I was shocked. She is almost crying, looking at me like I just did something horrible. Tell her I love her too, but looks a bit confused. She accuses me of not being sure about loving me. Explain that I was just shocked because it was the first time she ever said it to me. She gets mad and tells me I told her first during laser gaming. Legitimately confused, ask her what she means. She might be a small and quiet wallflower, but by the gods, do not anger this little lady. She starts yelling at me, hitting my chest, telling me I'm an asshole. Tell her I really do love her, pin her down, and kiss her. She calms down. Honestly, she can get so upset over these kind of things. It's endearing, but yeah. I start becoming better at Smash 64, consistently beating Stella and her sister and the sister's BF. Let's call them Sasha and Tommy for now. Notice Stella gets visibly upset about the fact she can't beat me as easily anymore. One of her more childish but cute traits. But she legit got so angry, she wailed at me and broke one of her controllers in her autistic fit. But for now on, I decide to take it easier on her sometimes and let her gloat when she beats me. I think she's legitimately the most passionate Smash 64, but not the best. Either way, a lot of stories happened between this and now. We went to Comic-Con, we played at prom with our band,
I bought her a silver bracelet with a heart. I discovered my hoodie from all those months ago in her closet, and she insisted on keeping it. Summer picnics, all that jazz. Genuinely a great year. I've decided not to share all those stories. It'd take too long and maybe not really what you guys want to read. New Year's Eve. Probably why I'm sharing this thread now. One of my most vivid memories, I suppose. Stella's 19 now. She's grown a bit since we started dating. Most notably, her cup size went up. She was a bit of a late bloomer after all. No complaints here. Still a deeply in love, inseparable couple. Man, I kind of don't want to share this almost. It's just deeply personal. It feels weird. Anyway, we're at my place, in my room in the attic. I have a large window looking up at the sky. My bed is directly under it. It's just past New Year, and we wished everyone a Happy New Year and everything before going upstairs. We lie in bed together, holding hands, staring up at the sky. It's pretty clear. There is snow on the roof and on the streets, but I cleaned my window off so we could look up. We watched the fireworks together, kissing, cuddling, whispering sweet nothings. I'm one of those nerds that records music I play together with my band and listen to it. I have that running in the background. We covered Use Somebody by Kings of Leon. That was playing. A classmate of mine was singing. I was on the bass guitar, Stella was on the piano. One of the best moments of my life. We had sex on my bed for the first time. We never actually dared to have sex at my place because of my parents. If they found out, we'd be fucked figuratively as well. Magical scene. It wasn't about lust, it was just pure love. I love her so much. We fall asleep together while fireworks are still going, probably 2 a.m. Wake up the next day in a panic. We're both still naked, and there was no second mattress on the floor to trick my parents into thinking she slept on the floor. Quickly make a makeshift bed on my couch. My parents bought it. Never got in trouble, but got some extremely suspicious stares from my mom. She knew probably. Managed to evade trouble once again. Let's fast forward a bit. Fast forwarding a bit to avoid an overly long story. I'll give you the short version of events. Eventually, Stella wasn't bullied about her height anymore at all. Kids grew older and stopped being as mean to people, I suppose. I quit working at the supermarket and took up a job at several electronic stores promoting Intel CPUs and helping customers pick the laptop that fit their needs. And also try and upsell for extra shekels. We both graduate. I graduate a year earlier since I'm only doing the lazy people high school level and she's doing the try-hard one. I go to college studying business IT and management because I really don't know what else to do. Stella ends up going for the opposite, pursuing her piano skills. She was always better at playing music than I or any of the other bandmates. I think my singer classmate still sings in a choir though. Fast forward to 2014, I finished college. Got a decent job at a growing startup company after completing an internship and getting my degree there. Make a decent living now. Buy a small house with Stella. We've been together for 5 years now. It's been a wild ride. Her aggressive, childish side has simmered down a bit. She's now more calm and collected and less shy now. She's a quiet girl though, and still often mistaken for a high schooler, despite being 20 years old. We still go to movies together, play Smash Bros and Mario Kart often. However, things are a bit different now. She's pregnant 2 months in. Don't want her to drop out of uni, honestly. She could easily finish her education. Her grades were top tier. Not sure if we're ready for this baby. Debating abortion. I'm not against it, but it feels wrong about killing an unborn baby. We have a long argument over this. I'm hesitant. I'm only 22 at this point. Not really ready to be a dad. Stella wants the baby, even if it means dropping out of uni. Legit feel sick to my stomach about becoming a dad. Worry about Stella too. She's a petite woman. Having a kid seems dangerous with a figure like hers. Thinking about it for a long time, having trouble sleeping. End up falling asleep and dreaming about a life with Stella and the baby. In my dream, the baby's a boy. Kinda like Stella. Cute, blonde, aggressive, but with some of my traits. Bad humor, green eyes, more patience than his mother. I wake up crying. I tell Stella I want to keep the baby, even if it means I have to work and support the 3 of us. She starts crying. I start crying. We cuddle for hours in the middle of the next night, eventually fall back asleep. Tell Tommy the next morning about my talk with Stella. He went through something similar with Sasha, but they ended up aborting. Tommy and Sasha both are driven by their careers. Tommy is running his own company in IT, while Sasha is making clothes, has her own brand and web shop where people are ordering custom-made clothing. Tell her we decided to keep the baby. He cheers us up on a promise not to tell Stella. He slipped up later, causing another explosion of Stella anger, since she wanted to tell her sister. Months pass, and Stella's belly grows. We're getting close to the exciting part. The baby's almost coming. It's kind of cute seeing Stella waddle around with a big belly. I feel kinda cool imagining we actually made a human. It's time. Stella is having contractions, and I drive her over to the hospital. She gives birth to a healthy baby girl. I don't feel disappointed about it not being a boy and instantly feel love for our baby girl. She has tons of hair already, brown like mine. Had to take her to the hairdressers when she was just a week old. She had that much hair. Feel insanely happy, indescribable feeling having a kid. My baby girl, let's call her Lizette, fits in with our family nicely. My mom is absolutely obsessed with her, wants to babysit her all the time. I actually got in a fight with Stella over the amount of time she wanted to keep her to myself. Meanwhile at work, I'm planning to start a sister company to the one that I'm working at. A load of new work added to my usual workload. A new website, setting up a company, thinking of business strategies, thinking of hiring employees/interns, getting clients, etc. Stella drops out of uni to become a full-time mom and work at home. Job designing websites and doing Photoshop. Actually makes a decent living off that herself. About a year and a half passes, the baby's a big part of our lives, but thanks to my overly zealous mom, we can afford to go out every once in a while and leave Lizette with her. Her first words are dada. Fucking kills me inside. So happy. At night in bed, Stella mopes about her first words not being mama, a glimpse of her competitive brattiness emerging. She learns to take steps, potty training, watching TV. So many cute memories with Lizette, all recorded on our phones. I'm having a hard time writing now. Sorry if I get slower. Stella is a happy mom, a happy wife, overall a happy person. Even before we dated, she was smiling. One week, I noticed she didn't smile as much. Her eyes looked like she'd been crying. I ask her what's wrong. She says it's nothing and pulls out her smile again. At the time, I thought maybe it was just hormones. She was a bit weird sometimes during that time of the month. I wasn't always around too much because of my work. My 40-hour work week had slowly evolved into an 80-hour work week, thanks to my new company. I didn't see Lizette much either, mostly in the weekend. Whenever I come home from work, she'd already be asleep, and I woke up sooner than she did most days to go to work. One day at work, I receive a call. Hello, is this Mr. Anon? I'm a bit confused. Yeah, how can I help you? Your girlfriend has been in an accident. She's in the hospital. Make a break for it. Run out on my client, tell them it's an emergency. I break all the speed limits, rushing towards the hospital. Rush towards the receptionist. Incoherently scream at her in tears. They somehow manage to bring me to Stella's room. She's hooked up to a million different things. IV in her arm, breathing tube in her nose, she's unconscious. All they know was Stella collapsed in the mall while Lizette was in my room. She's not in critical condition, fortunately. But no one knows what's wrong yet. Wait in the hospital for 2 days, sleep on the couch, barely eat, completely fucked up my life upside down. My mom takes care of Lizette while I'm here, worried sick. Doctors trying to explain everything to me, but words are not coming through. Apparently, she passed out from a wrong combination of drugs and hit her head on the way down. A full week in which I could not bear to come to work. She wakes up. I cry my eyes out. She cries. She tells me all about how she'd been taking different kinds of antidepressants and other drugs to calm her mind. The stress and feeling of being alone brought her to this. Realize it's my fault. Take a hiatus while Stella recovers. Stay home with her for an extended time. End up selling my company and taking a 32 hours a week job. Stella does recover, but feels guilty about almost leaving us behind. Notice things become less lighthearted around the family for a long time. Stella sometimes cries, even if things are alright. She is diagnosed with chronic depression and gets on proper meds. Fast forward to now. Lizette is a healthy young girl, growing up fast, and I love her more than anything. Stella is still with me, but things are just not the same as they once were. Stella is absent mentally, not her usual bratty self anymore. She's friendly, docile, kind, but I miss the spark of life that she always had. I still love her loads, she's my everything. I'm never going to leave her. But the feeling I have this night, after putting my little one to bed, seeing Stella sleep, I can't say she's still herself anymore. It's like something changed that day. Some part of her died and I miss it so much. Does that make me selfish? I'm not unhappy with her. I'm not mad at her. I just feel like something messed me up inside after that week. That recovery process, I'm not as happy as I was before it happened. I still see Stella cry sometimes, and I know it's because of her depression. And I know it's not my fault. She's told me this a million times. But I somehow feel responsible for this. I feel like I could have avoided it if I had just spent a little more time with her. If I just didn't work as much back then. Maybe things could be different. I'm sorry if this wasn't the story you're hoping for. I'm sorry if you wanted a happy or a satisfying end. But this is the middle of the road for me. I still have my life ahead of me. I still have to think about Lizette's future and Stella's, but it's hard. I just wanted to vent this. Thank you for listening, Anons. Happy New Year.